when you stop enforcing small stuff, and this isn't small. I'm giving you the leftist perspective. You get where I'm going with this, Joe? Like small trespass, small stuff, prostitution, small stuff. No, folks. That's not how any of this works. It's the small stuff that stops the big stuff. LA County District Attorney, guy who just took power here, his name is George Gascon. You may have heard of this guy. One of the first things he did when getting into office, if you live anywhere around LA County, I'm not kidding. You are in real danger right now. This is not a joke. This is not hyperbole. This is not exaggeration for effect, as I say often. This is very real. I was a police officer. I know how policing works. I was on the inside of the Rudy Giuliani revolution in policing in New York. You are in very real danger. What did he do? One of the first things he issued was this effectively blanket declination letter. Let me give you a little inside baseball on what that is. When you're a local police officer or a federal agent, you have to bring your case to a prosecutor. The police officer files the charges. The prosecution of the case, again, I'm sorry, liberals are listening, so we have to take this slow. The prosecutors and lawyers for the government, the city, or the state are the ones who prosecute the case. Police officer files the charges and investigates. That's it. The prosecutors in these offices have what's known as, both at the federal, state, and city level, they'll have blanket declination letters. So when I was a Fed with the Secret Service, when we were doing credit card fraud, right? Generally, the blanket declination was for any fraud under $100,000. So what I'm saying, George, follow me here, is there'd be a blanket declination letter where they would just send you back an email saying, hey, we know you got this credit card fraud case. It looks interesting. It's a $50,000 fraud, but because of our limited resources, we're issuing a blanket declination because it doesn't meet the loss guidelines. You tracking?
Yeah,
now,
the root of the word is decline.
Decline, yes, decline, which I know. Thank you, Joe. Joe knows liberals. We have to be very slow. I'm very sorry, folks, because there are people with 6-inch thick skulls here coated in vibranium who practice liberalism who are listening. So they will decline to prosecute that case. Now, you can go and bring it to the state. Even as a federal agent, you can bring it to the state and get a state police officer or detective to investigate it with you, and I did that often. Rarely will they take a case that doesn't meet their guidelines, unless it's something really like has sex appeal to it. Like it's someone missing they do it too. And an AUSA, Assistant United States Attorney, thinks they can get a newspaper. Then they may take it. I'll tell you a story about that another day, about this Goodfellas connection thing. But I don't have time for that today. But rarely will they do it. But ladies and gentlemen, while that's understandable, right? And a United States attorney saying to a Secret Service agent or the FBI, hey, we don't have a lot of lawyers here. So if your case isn't a big fraud, we don't have time, big fraud number, we don't have time to prosecute it. I have never in my life seen a district attorney for a huge county like LA County, Los Angeles County, issue a blanket declination letter for like everything. Look at this. This is not a joke. This is his declaration. First day in office. We are not going to prosecute. Just scroll through them, Paul, as I get to the end. We're not going to prosecute people. This is the declination letter from Gascon. Get out of LA, Snake Plissken style. For trespassing, disturbing the peace, driving without a license, prostitution, resisting arrest, driving without a valid. Go to part 2 of this. This is a 2-parter. It didn't even fit on one page how many crimes he's not going to prosecute. Page 2 of this is unbelievable. It goes on. He's got a litany of crimes. He's not resisting arrest, no good anymore. And here's another one, Joe. I'll get to this at the end. This one is really, tragic yet hilarious in its stupidity. They're also only going to make bail. Can you come? They're only going to make bail pursuant to someone's ability to pay. The whole purpose of bail is to not make someone able to pay. What are you, an idiot? Do you know what bail is? Let me get to that. I don't even want to burn that one. This is the LA County District Attorney. They blanket declinations for this stuff. So, by the way, trespass, disturb the peace, drive with no license, engage in prostitution, resist arrest. Hey, Monopoly, get out of jail free time, folks. Well, what's the problem with this outside of the obvious? Well, let me give you some inside baseball about why this is a problem outside of the obvious that you're allowing a permissive environment for criminality. That's the duh moment of the show. Number one, folks, my experience in law enforcement, and I think anyone else in law enforcement listening, you'll nod your head in approval. Criminals talk. They're not stupid. Criminals know soft spots, and they go there to commit crimes. I'll give you just two quick examples, both related to places I grew up and in my time in policing, because right where I grew up, I was a cop. First, where I live now, I live in Martin County, Florida. It's north of Palm Beach. The sheriff down here is tough, probably one of the toughest in Florida. He's a good man, and he doesn't mess around. You break the law in Martin County, you're probably going to jail. They don't plea a lot of cases. If you do the crime, you're going to do the time in Martin County. Not a joke. I'm not kissing his butt because I know the guy, full disclosure, very nice guy. I'm just saying Martin County has a reputation. And criminals who come up I-95 into Martin County, Joe, when they see the welcome to Martin County sign, typically get off 95 and go back south again, where there's a little bit more permissive atmosphere, sadly, for some forms of criminality. I'm not joking, because the word got out amongst criminals who talk to each other because they're not stupid. Don't get locked up in Martin County because you'll go to jail where you could probably plea out and get out in Broward or elsewhere. It is well known in the law enforcement community, no one wants to get locked up here. So now what are they going to say about LA County? Hey, you're going to drive without a license or do prostitution, do it in LA County. You're not going to prosecute anyone. You think criminals don't talk? You think they're stupid? Secondly, when I grew up right over Cypress Hill in Glendale, New York, in Queens. And right over Cypress Hill was East New York, Brooklyn. We'd call it over the hill because you'd cross the hill and you'd be in Brooklyn. Well, I was a cop in over the hill in Brooklyn, probably a mile from where I grew up, 2 miles from where I grew up. And it was interesting being a cop in the 7-5 precinct because I remember growing up, I'm not joking. I never did this. Not a joke. It's not virtue signaling. I'm not kidding with you folks. And for the kids, I never have done drugs in my entire life, ever, illegal drugs. I promise. This is not like a PSA. I'm just saying, you do you, that wasn't me. But a lot of my friends did. I mean, I didn't grow up in the roughest part of town, but it wasn't the nicest either. Everybody was kind of lower middle class, some of us pretty poor. And a lot of kids did drugs. I mean, candidly, smoking weed was like smoking cigarettes. Like you went out to hang out in Central Park, not Manhattan Central Park, Queens Central Park. And if there wasn't someone passing, taking two and pass to quote Gangstar, you got to take two and pass so the blunt will. Remember that? So there was a lot of taking two, sometimes three, and some passing. And I'm not talking about the football. So a lot of the kids in Glendale would go over the hill to buy the weed. Well, the cops caught on to that and would wait at the bottom of the hill for the Glendale kids who never knew where they were going, so they'd always be looking around the car, and they would just pull them over at the bottom of the hill, and then what would happen? Everybody in Central Park would be like, hey, did you hear what happened to Billy Bag of Donuts? He got locked up going over the hill to buy a bag of weed, and no one went and bought their weed there anymore. Because people talk. Now everybody's going to say, you want weed? You want to resist arrest? Just go to LA. But the LA County District Attorney is too stupid to figure this out. George Gascon has the IQ of a speckle-noted, two-fingered sloth. Is that a thing? I don't know, but it's probably not smart if it is, like Gascon. You're going to see crime explode in LA County because people are rational maximizers who rationally maximize their own condition. And you rationally maximize your condition by not getting locked up if you want to commit crime because you go to a place where they won't lock you up. Oh my gosh, are people stupid? Not you, Gascon. Second, and this is important. Ladies and gentlemen, I was a cop in New York during broken windows, the Rudy Giuliani era. When you stop enforcing small stuff, and this isn't small, I'm giving you the leftist perspective. You get where I'm going with this, Joe? Like small trespass, small stuff, prostitution, small stuff. No, folks. That's not how any of this works. It's the small stuff that stops the big stuff.
You just heard Dan Bongino.